Patton Oswalt is back with Coulson and company? And Zach McGowan is the bad guy? Oh, feels like my birthday. I'm getting so many nice presents. It's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 12. Hot Potato Soup. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, of course, there are spoilers ahead. In fact, coming up now. Here we go. Alright, so, really fun episode this week. Hot Potato Soup, appropriate title, name, because it was the constant search for our current MacGuffin, the Darkhold. And just a lot of moving around, a lot of where to go, what happened with it. Really fun, but we're also developing, of course, the storyline a lot more. Great scenes with Radcliffe and Fitz, or LMD Radcliffe as it is. And then, of course, like I said, we get to meet the superior, the man behind the watchdogs, the person bankrolling Nadir, and that is played by the amazingly impressive and just physically present actor, Zach McGowan. Really just a pleasure to see him. If any of you guys have caught him in Black Sails, first 3 seasons, he was playing Charles Vane. Just incredible. He's also over on the 100, over on the CW. So the man's everywhere, but always very impressive, always with a really strong screen presence. So really excited to see him here. So let's kick things off. Again, really the biggest part of this episode, at least for me, like I said, is the return of Patton Oswalt as the Koenig brothers. And just, you know, it's been a while since we've seen him. Patton's had a very tough personal year. Our heart goes out to him, but it is wonderful to see him back. He is such a great character actor, and he's just very present in all the scenes that he's here, and he is fun. I mean, from the opening bits where he and his brother, where Billy and Sam are just trading movie lines back and forth, to the whole bit where Billy is playing that he is super tough, but the minute that they leave is just collapses into, oh my god, I can't take the pain. The distraction of the puppy when they're scanning along the brain. I mean, even the whole bit with the Quake fan fiction, shipping with Black Widow, of course. But his whole bit with this. Anyway, just really fun. Again, the Koenigs are always really enjoying where they are, and in fact, so much of them is our little, you know, fan-happy cells living inside of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When he comes in, he is doing exactly the just kind of excitement at seeing Quake and just exciting to be part of it that we would all feel with that. So, really, just he was a key part of this episode, not only in storyline, but just presence, and it was great to have him back here. Now, the other really fun thing that we got about this episode, again, according to me, is the real discussions on identity that we had with LMD Radcliffe when he was speaking with Fitz, and then when he's speaking with Mac, and the whole discussions that go on there, even kind of leading up to the whole end when May is finally revealed in those brief few moments of talking with Coulson. Really that idea of what is it that makes us who we are? You know, is it our bodies, is it memory? Well, but the same thing, like Radcliffe had said, it's just biology. It's just, you know, it's hardware from a biological sense. Is it our memories, our experiences? Okay, but if it's that, and those memories and experiences are copied over onto something else, is that then also us by that definition? And then even in the question that he had with Mac very briefly about the soul. If a soul then can inhabit a human body, why couldn't it inhabit an artificial body? Why couldn't it inhabit a mechanical body? If the same thing that drives a soul is present in Mac, if those same things are in the LMD of Radcliffe, could that not also have a soul? And of course, they didn't really get into answers in this, but that's the exciting thing about these questions. Back in college, I actually took a philosophy of mind course with. It was great. The professor was like your stereotypical befuddled English professor. Very funny, very interesting man. but they asked a lot of these very deep questions on what is it that make us who we are, and then whenever we came up with an answer, there would be a challenge of what about this viewpoint or that viewpoint. And again, the point of it wasn't finding the answers. Finding the answers isn't what's important. It's asking the questions and kind of expanding one's own viewpoint of the possibilities. So really, philosophy of mind, if you're interested in that, probably something you guys can look up. Would highly recommend it. Just really, like I said, the most memorable course that I took in my many years of college education. So was really fun. But that's why I really love these ideas. And in fact, they dealt with a lot of the stuff in Westworld first season on HBO this past year. If you caught that, then you caught a lot of this stuff. If you hadn't, I do highly recommend checking that out. It was a fabulous series. And of course, the other big storyline movement that we had going on this episode is LMD May, or more to the point, the exposure of LMD May. And I thought this was really kind of a perfect time. This is the last push for the Darkhold. This is naturally when she would be exposed. She would fulfill her little sub-programming mission. But it also doesn't drag things along too much. We get to finish this little arc and now move into the search for actual May. Unfortunately, this did seem to happen right after the long-awaited Coulson-May kiss, their little shipping moment. I mean, and I say unfortunate really just for Coulson, because again, you finally make that step and then it ends up being a robot, so not quite as fun. But I wish, you know, especially after all of the identity discussions that we had, I gotta ask, were you guys just feeling a little sad for LMD May when Radcliffe just sort of took the book and said, "Bye, see you, you weren't made to last"? Didn't that feel just pull on the heartstrings just a little bit, even though she's a robot and she just betrayed Phil? Yeah. Now, I did like, of course, the fact that Phil was able to deduce rather quickly, of course, right after May pulls a gun on him, and that's very much unlike May. But I did like the fact that Coulson was able to deduce on his own before being informed by Fitz and Simmons that May was in fact an LMD and really jump into that. Great, of course, seeing Quake doing her stuff and incapacitating her. So overall, like I said, I thought that was a really good movement of the character. It was an appropriate time to sort of end that little arc, and now we can sort of push things on. Though, as we had in that final sequence, unlike the Radcliffe LMD and Ada's head and remaining bits and parts, which were destroyed in the incinerator there, can't destroy LMD May, not until we find the real May, because all of her identities, all of her memories are in the LMD, and like we were mentioning before, what makes us who we are. So you got to kind of hold on to that for the moment, at least until we can find the original. All right, and of course, a few little moments here. One, just continuing the whole are the Koenigs robots or not, I thought was beautifully done throughout this episode. I mean, it even starts off with Billy at the beginning. I'm not programmed that way. To the comments when LT, which I love this sister, that was beautiful, talking to Daisy about how much DNA was around as you could make a clone with. And then even at the final end bit when they were revealed as the original part of the LMD program, but not robots, they were technicians. So I just love how they continued those questions that we've been asking kind of since the beginning of season 1, or really into season 2, after Eric died. Poor Eric, killed by Grant, you bastard. I'm glad you're dead. But really, we've been having those questions. Are they LMDs? Are they clones? Are they robots? No, they're humans, they're brothers, they're twins, but that they were continuing to kind of play into those questions throughout the episode, I thought was really fun. We also got a little reference to Bobby and Hunter this episode. That was nice, referring back to them getting kicked out or just leaving S.H.I.E.L.D. As it was in last year's parting shot. Is that an implication that they might come back? I don't know. That would be really nice. I haven't heard anything, but I really miss Hunter and Bobby. I would love to have them back on the show. But anyway, it was nice to at least have a little reference to them. Okay, when Ada goes into defense mode, when the Superior tries to get her and Radcliffe taken away, and she just takes out those two guys, and then grabs Lieutenant and just drops him down with the hand braking. That was cool, But honestly, my favorite moment was then when Radcliffe says release him, and she lets him go and does just daintily kind of sits down and crosses her legs and puts her hands down. I thought that was just hilarious. It was so wonderful. It was just, because it was so opposite to the way that she acted. I just, was really nice. Also, right there, we did see kind of a moment there of respect from the superior, from Ivanov over to Radcliffe there. Once he realized that this is not an inhuman but a robot, and Radcliffe made him, Ivanov seems to respect strength, and that definitely seems to be a demonstration of it. So I think this looked like a little bit of respect might have been given over to Radcliffe in that moment. Coulson dropped a little line when he was talking to Daisy about the Darkhold, that the Koenigs have dealt with something like this before, with this kind of thing before. Really curious what he was referring to with that. And also a little thought, the references to Fitz's dad, who we haven't heard anything about, really played central into that, especially with LMD Radcliffe's line about, I just saw him recently and he wanted me to tell you, and then of course dropped off. We never get to hear that. Now for Fitz's character evolution this episode, he doesn't need to know. He moved on. Perfect. But because they dropped that, I'm wondering if we are going to meet Fitz's dad soon. Is he going to be part of this third act that's going to be going on in a few weeks? Maybe he's going to be the new bad guy behind. I don't know. Thinking maybe bad guy, but just because they dropped that down, really, that just piqued my interest. I'm curious what's going to happen with that. Oh, and the whole light quantum brain thing that was going on there, oh, that was beautiful. And especially Fitz's response to Mac's question, is that even possible? No, not even in the slightest. That was just awesome. Also, Darkhold. And finally, that last reveal that Anton Ivanov, that the Superior is after something that has brought all of these things to us, the Chitauri, the Kree, the Inhumans, and it ends up being Coulson. He's after Coulson. I really enjoy that. One, the fact that Coulson could be the next MacGuffin that the bad guys are after. It is awesome. Two, it's nice that it sort of reinforces the fact that Coulson is still not well known out there, that his identity, that his existence is still not really a public access thing. Because he's done so much in the past few seasons. Of course there should be out there. He was the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. and there's agents out there and people interacting with him. So we see from that perspective that he, of course everyone should know that he's still around. This is just, which in a way I still think that I do, but that they did this little thing, that Ivanov is after this mysterious man who is always around when all of these things happen and ends up being Coulson. It's nice because it just sort of reinforces that Coulson still can be existing in the shadows from a public standpoint. Because Ivanov seems like a man that has resources. I mean, he's running the watchdogs, he's got Nadir, he's got all these things he can go after. Now, on the other hand, Nadir's dealt with Coulson. So did the Superior not tell her what he was after? I mean, that's... Anyway, but I'm sure we're going to clear this off. I just like the fact that that is who that he is after, that he is kind of the new pursuit of the bad guy. I just thought it was interesting. All right, so I think that wraps things up for this week. I think we managed to cover everything. So starting next week, we have the hunt for May. Coulson's pissed, and you can understand why. So Coulson's going after May. The Superior's going after Coulson. That's a collision that's going to be really interesting to see. Now, also, this is episode 4 into the LMD arc, which we're expecting to go to 7, so we're just over the halfway point. We're going to clear these through and then on to whatever the next thing is going to be. Probably still pursuing the Darkhold, but like I intimated before, I'm thinking maybe Fitz's dad is going to play a certain part in this as well. We will have to see. So, if you enjoyed this, go ahead and hit that like button. Comments, of course, as usual, section below. What did you think? Ideas about Fitz's dad? Did you like the identity discussions throughout of this? How did that sort of hit you? And of course, we can just all say that we're happy to see Patton Oswalt. Throw those down, your favorite Patton moments. We can talk about that. Anyway, you can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. Always at Darren Jakes. There it is right there. Otherwise, you can, of course, subscribe. If you don't, hit that little picture of me. Come back every week, and right up here, I'm going to throw this review of Black Sail. Season 4 just started. Just did the review the other day. It's the final season. It's going to be fabulous. Anyway, so I'm D, and I am out of here. You guys take it easy. Bye-bye.